In 1978, I called Blue Jay's house. We used to call each other and yuck it up. He was living with a woman and her 3 kids out east. I called one night and I talked to some kid. "Oh no," she said, "Blue Jay is dead." I couldn't believe it. I just hung up the phone. And then my wife told me, "Call back, there must be some mistake." I called back and I spoke to the babysitter. She said Blue Jay was in a 1-car accident. He was a passenger and the car hit a telephone pole, just T-boned the pole, and he flew out and he died. The only good memory that came out of the Vietnam War died. John Patrick Michael Hearn, a.k.a. Blue Jay, was the company clerk from, well, I was in B Company, he was in C Company, and they actually restricted us like a restraining order. They gave me and him a restraining order that we couldn't see each other, we couldn't speak, and we had to sneak around like lovers just to see each other. Why? Because when we got together, all fucking hell broke loose. I mean, after all, we're standing on the deck of the USS Geiger about to go under the Golden Gate Bridge, and everybody's singing "Hail to the Chief" or "America" or something, and we're singing "Give our regards to Broadway." I mean, just as loud as we could. And we just laughed and had a great time all the way through Vietnam. He was the greatest guy I ever met. One of the best. He made me laugh every time. Dear Mom, hi. Well, here I am one day from Vietnam. We should get there tomorrow. They'll be taking us ashore, which I might add should be exciting. The temp has been rising since we left Okinawa. It should be at least 95 from now on. I burned my back to a crisp yesterday. Should be tan in a day or so. Last week, we had a 12-hour Liberty in Okinawa. Had a ball. The beer is 25 cents a quart and stronger than hell. This cute little Japanese girl came up to me and said for $3 she would give me something I had never had before. Well, naturally, I ran. I mean, I was sure she was trying to give me leprosy, right? I can hear Dad now. Right. The people here are really amazing. They're all about 5 feet tall, and they say the VC are even smaller. Gulliver of Gulliver's Travels. I know how he felt. Another thing is, they could care less about where they go to the bathroom. Not that I'm so modest, but right on Main Street? Well, don't worry about me. I'm not going to get hurt. I'm going to die in a whorehouse, drunk at the age of 95. Well, I miss you very much and I wish I was home. All my love, Rob. 330 days to go. This is me on my first day, my first hour in country. I was so fucking naive. The rifle that they gave me on the ship, I had never seen it before. I'd been in the Army for a year. I had trained with an M14, so they gave me an M16. They just said, "Here's your fucking rifle, fuckhead," with no ammunition. We went ashore in these LST boats, and when the doors fell open, we stood there with no ammunition. They said they didn't want us to hurt anyone. I'd been in the hold of a ship for a month. I'd been playing canasta for a fucking month in the hold of a slow boat to hell. If we had sunk, all of us would have died. We slept in these bunks with like 40 guys stacked up, just jammed in there. We played canasta for 28 days straight. I have never played canasta since. I know it has something to do with red threes, but I could give a shit. And we stop after getting ashore, and a bunch of little kids come up, and one kid in a hat is selling Cokes for 20 cents. You drink the Coke, and you give him back the empty bottle. Or if you were an asshole, you'd sell it back to him for 5 cents. I gave him back the bottle. Who gives a shit? And I give the kid some sea rations, ham and eggs, lima beans and ham stuff. What a humanitarian, right? People would see us giving our food to these starving kids, and they'd all go, "Aw," like I would eat that shit. We would take out the chocolate bars and the pound cake, anything worth eating, and we'd give the shit to the kids. Aw. You get air medals for flying 50 hours of combat. After a while, I didn't even bother taking the medals off the paper they were pinned to. I just threw them in the footlocker. They didn't mean nothing. I got them for being on a UH-1C Iroquois. B's carried executives, D were the ones that carried the troops, and C stood for combat. The UHC-1 Iroquois helicopter only left the ground to kill people. And that's the one I was on. I got 2 medals with a V device for valor, and then I got 10 others for flying. 1 oak cluster for every 50 hours of combat flying. It was all... Yeah, it was great. It's great. All I did was kill some people.
Air Medal with V device. Date of action, May 1967. Theater, Republic of Vietnam. Reason, for heroism while participating in aerial flight in the Republic of Vietnam, Private First Class Robin Adair Curtis distinguished himself on 26 May 1967 while serving as a door gunner aboard a gunship in support of a reconnaissance mission. Dropping reconnaissance. Low-level navigation hampered by rain and low clouds. Great credit upon himself and the United States Army. 3 separate elements of the gunship enemy was fired Attempt upon. To lure the gunships into a exceptional trap. Skill and Private Curtis returned fire upon Air the insurgents. V device. Drew enemy continual fire. Protective recovery fire. Of team. Accurate suppressive Drew fire from the pickup highest zone. Traditions of the military the United service. States Army. Authority by the direction of the President under the provisions of Executive Order 9158, 11 May 1942, as amended by Executive Order 9242-A, 11 September 1942.
Come on, folks, little golf claps, huh? Yeah, come on. I was on KP that day. They got the dates wrong. The thing was, it was dangerous all the time. The officials want to pick out some times and go, you did good. And you ask, yeah, but what about yesterday? I almost got my fucking ass shot off. I saved 5 people. And they go, sorry, we weren't there. I pointed out to the colonel that I had been on KP, and he said, shut the fuck up and take the medal, troop. That's what they called us, troop. And I was told to shut up. It's just bullshit. So one day, they isolated one day that I did wondrous, valorous things. And they picked the day I was on KP. Now, this part gets a little steamy. We had the most wonderful machine, the minigun, M-I-N-I, like mini skirt, in a way, just like a mini skirt. It's just the loveliest. It's got butterfly grips with buttons on them, and it fires 200 rounds a second. A 12.5-second burst would put a bullet in every square yard of a football field, just like this. There would be a 7-foot flame coming off the barrel when it was fired. And the co-pilot had a sight that came down in front of his face, and he could move the sight around like one of those desk lamp deals. And he could aim it almost anywhere and pull the trigger, and whatever he was looking at just went and disappeared. So we go out at night, one ship way up here with all its lights on, making as much noise as possible. And the other one, mine, is down here, cruising at 300 feet with a mounted minigun and no lights on at all. And we'd go out at night just looking for sampans. They were these little flat-bottom boats that they would use for smuggling guns or whatever, and they are not supposed to be out at night. And on the dark ship, we have this starlight scope. You look through it and everything's lime green. And then we'd spot something, and we'd radio the guys in the upper ship, and they had this big spotlight, like one of those opening night deals. And then they get the call, they point it to where we tell them to, and it's showtime. Sampans in the wrong place. Didn't matter if they were hauling goats or AK-47s. They were absolutely in the wrong place, and we would just go, and they'd be gone. There'd be nothing but sticks in the water. And they didn't always use boats. This is going to sound strange, but basically the weirder and more fucked up it is, the more likely it is that it actually happened. We see this movement in the jungle, and we're like, what the fuck is that? So let's make a pass. We do a low passover, and shit's flying up everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. So we go back up to altitude, and we look back. We got the scope, the binoculars. We're checking it out. And there's a line of 7 or 8 pink elephants, which made us curious. See, in Vietnam, the mud is this red color, and then the elephants roll around in it, and when it dries, they turn pink. So we fly in, and we're taking fire, but we can see that these pink elephants have boxes on their sides, just that size of a couch. We see boxes, we know right away, guns, 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 guns. So we flew back in. Most of the time they used bicycles. I don't know what they were thinking. The only thing that topped it was a quad 50. 4 50 caliber machine guns with bullets the size of a railroad spike that could merge at 200 yards and cut down full-grown trees and just vaporize them. Uncle Sam and his green machine. Oh! Holy shit! We don't have any fucking skids, sir! You just flew through a fucking tree! Holy shit! I sit here. I'm sitting here in the door, and the rocket pod's right under my foot, and the rockets would go, and I'd be like, oh, shit! Slag and shit would burn holes in my boot. Rocket pod there had 7 rockets with 10-pound warheads. I saw a guy get hit in the back with a rocket once. He wound up 8 feet across and about an inch deep, like a big bloody circle, like a bug on a windshield. I sat like this the whole war. I bought this 1/4-inch steel square and I covered it in black velvet with a tiger on it, and I took it with me when I went up in the chopper. With all my guns and all my shit on me, I outweighed every door gunner by 50 pounds. And they pack these choppers so tight that if you throw a nickel in there, it wouldn't take off. So the pilots see me coming and they go, oh, wow, shit. We'd take off, there's sparks flying and dragging across the ground. So I'm sitting next to this guy one time, the crew chief, and the top of his knee just explodes. The bullet had gone up through his heel, up the bone, and out of his kneecap in this big pink cloud. Poof. And he looks down, and he just... So we all laughed too, but it got me thinking, I get shot in the leg, so what? I'll get out of here alive, but there's all this other shit here. So I measured my seat, and I had this steel square cut to fit right down on top of it, and cover my ass. Padded and protected. That's how I spent the whole war. Just 150 miles an hour, that far off the ground. You get close to the trees, you pop up, you drop back down to the deck on the other side. We'd go by so low, I could tell if a water buffalo had blue eyes or not. It was just land, rearm, fly. Land, rearm, fly. You'd stand there, you're refueling the chopper, you're taking a leak, and you're eating a sandwich all at the same time, because you only have so many minutes on the ground. Guns are loaded, everything's loaded up, you got everything. Machete, box of flares, box of grenades, M16 on the back of the seat like a coat hook. Everything adjacent to me is mine. Like being in an office. I got my 2 coconuts, I'm set. The coconuts in Vietnam are like bowling balls. They're just huge. So when I'd go up, I'd take like 2 or 3 of them in the ship with me. And when we're flying over, I would drop them. We'd be up there 600 feet in the air, and the villagers are like, oh, shit, GIs! And then they start running because they don't know what kind of mood we're in that day. Almost got him with that one. And these are friendly people. That's friendly people we're dropping them on for shits and giggles. They just torment the villagers. I never got anybody. I just like watching them hit the ground. I still don't know why you want to hear all this.
26 February 1967. Hi, Mom. Well, the war's going fine and I'm still kicking.
I suppose you people have colds and everything with the bad weather that you're getting. Gee, that's too bad. It's 95 here. Not a cloud in the sky. Don't think for 1 minute that I wouldn't trade all this sunshine to be up to my rear in snow. Well, been here almost a month now. It went really fast. You don't notice the weeks because every day is like the last one or the next one. Except Sunday, some of the guys knock off to go to church. I haven't been up for about 5 days now. My ship's main generator is out. I'm sending a money order. Take out what I owe you and put the rest in the bank.
Gotta go. Love, Rob. 289.
When two choppers are on patrol, they fly in a daisy chain. One of them flies like this, and the other one flies like this, and as long as you don't meet in the middle, you're fine. But since you're sitting in a window on the right side, if the war is on your left, you got nothing to do. So you wait, and 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 you fight, and you fight, and you fight, and you fight, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you need something to entertain you. Look, a pig. And you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you fight, and you fight, and you fight, and then the pilot's voice comes on. All right, who shot the fucking pig? I got yelled at for that.
Tell me about the monkey.
Which one? The monkey. Which one? The one where we held him by his leash and we spun him around till he was so dizzy that he couldn't walk? Or the one where we just killed him because we didn't have anything better to do?
Tell me about the guy with the monkey.
There was a company clerk or something. You could tell just by looking at him. He had a new watch and a ring and short hair. And you could just tell looking at the guy's fucking pants and his brand new boots and the fact that he basically didn't look like he was almost dead. He was an FNG. Fucking new guy. Fuck him. He deserved to die. And yeah, he had a fucking monkey.
You told me about the monkey that stole stuff from all the barracks.
He had a gray monkey.
I know, I saw that.
I don't know what kind of monkey it was. You'll have to look it up.
No, I mean, was that the monkey that stole stuff?
No, it was his monkey. We had idle time. Vietnam was idle time. Endless idle. Etching, screaming, tearing at your brains. Idleness. And then it was boom! 5 to 10 minutes of absolute pandemonium. And then right after that, it's 2 weeks of idleness. And then it was boom! Pandemonium.
8 March 1967. Hi, Mom. Sorry I haven't written. Waiting for something to happen. Well, last night was the night. We had one hell of a lightning and thunderstorm.
So we're out in the mud, and we're trying not to get landed on. We're out in the storm and the mud and thunder and lightning, and all these planes are coming in, and we have to direct them in, and we're out there with just these flashlights. Just, no! Hey! No! Don't land on me, you motherfucker! Don't land on me! And all of a sudden, there's this helicopter that just comes down, and does this on me, and then backs off. And I look at the pilot, and the pilot is just like this. He's shocked white. He loved seeing my flashlights. And I loved him because he didn't land on me. We're just running backwards through the mud, yelling, no, you asshole, no! But that was a fun time. Didn't get to sleep till about 0400. I read today that drinking was bad for your heart and knocked 10 years off your life, so I quit. Reading, that is. Well, I have to go now, so write, and I miss you all very much. Love, Rob. 261.
But you told me about the monkey that stole stuff.
Oh, yeah, the monkey that went through all the barracks and stole stuff. Yeah, you always had one of them. Hell, you had those in the movies. That's no big deal. I mean, he'd go through and he'd take toothbrushes and he'd eat all the toothpaste and he'd take all your cookies, and it took us a long time to catch him. And when we finally did, we killed him. I hate monkeys. We would drop these 1,000-pound bombs, and they left these huge, flying at like 700, 800, 900 feet. You'd look at the craters, and you couldn't hardly tell. They just looked like circles. But when you flew down, inside there were docks on them, huts, fishing boats. You know why? They had filled with water and become lakes, man-made lakes with fish in them. I saw this one crater had 30-foot trees around it. And there was a dock on that, and there was an extension from the dock with 4 or 5 docks on that, and cabins and shit built around it. I mean, this is a bomb crater. But it's been there for a while, and I thought, well, shit. Everybody has been killing these people for years. Forever. And they're still here. During the winter, it was very dry and cold. Dry at 100 degrees during the day and 50 degrees at night. And during the summer, it would get down to 85 degrees at night and up to 120 during the day and pouring down rain. We lived in a wood frame tent. There were sandbag walls about 4 feet high surrounding the tent. And there was this small screened opening that ran all the way around the top of the tent for air. Right. What air? Big square military compound. Bearcat. They left one tree standing. And around the outside is a berm, like a levee. It's like 12, 16 feet high. I don't know, it could have been 300 feet high, and it would not have been high enough. It was called the perimeter. If the Viet Cong breached the perimeter, you'd be shooting at each other. You're fighting yourself. And there's pillboxes out there. 3 people in them at all times, 1 every 100 yards. And from the perimeter, the vegetation is ripped all the way back to the jungle, and then you have a kill zone. You can see them coming, and you can kill them. Each pillbox has a slit in it about a yard wide. One person sits, guns out the hole. The other guy sits behind him, keeps him awake. And the third guy sleeps on a cot outside the door. And you just rotate all night. Towards dawn, I'm sitting there with this guy, and light is just starting to come through the back door. And we turn to look towards the sun, and there's Blue Jay, asleep on the cot with a big lump on his chest, like this. And as we sit there looking, Jay and this rat wake up at exactly the same time. They both shot straight up in the air, and Jay is completely parallel to the cot with this enormous fucking rat the size of a schnauzer. And he refused to do guard duty after that. And after that, he was Blue Jay sleeps with rats. So later that same day, we're in the bunker and we hear machine gun fire. So we run up on top to see where it's coming from. Logical, right? Oh my God, they got inside, you know? The guy in the next pillbox is fighting a king cobra. It just crawled into the box with him. It's like 11 feet long, so he just took his M16 and shot it to shit. Goddamn things were everywhere. I'm lying there one day. My arm is across my face to block out the light, and my arm falls asleep, and I wake up, and I think it's a boa constrictor. So I grabbed my own arm and just, get it off my face! Of course, I was completely smashed. Oh, and one time, I'm sitting in the medic tent. I'm hanging out with Roman Bender, who only smoked pot because beer made his face break out. And he gets a call, and he goes, "Can I have the nature of the injury?" And the guy on the other end goes, "Tiger bite." This guy's taking a nap, and a tiger picks him up and walks off with him. We're fighting the enemy. Dehydration, mortar fire. We're not supposed to worry about tigers coming into your tents and eating us, or centipedes that crawl up your pant leg and bite you and they have to amputate, or rats, or king cobras. When you think there's nothing to be afraid of, that's when you get killed. You know, you're in Saigon, you know, civilization. You're trying to get a beer and trying to get laid, and they hand grenade the bar. The land of paranoia. I mean, come on. Even the animals hated us. Anyway, so this is Bearcat. Big old square. And the rest, that's all Charlie. Big square surrounded by Charlie. And the mess tent and the beer hall were across the compound. You had to cross 200 feet of mud to get food or drink. I mean, if you were thirsty or hungry, you had to go through that much mud. Some days, if we didn't have the energy, we wouldn't leave the hooch. We'd just eat, drink whatever we had, beans and weenies, Vienna sausages and beer, whatever. Right next door was the Black Bag place. When I was laying in my bed, I could look out the side of the hooch like this, like 50 feet across some dirt, and I was looking right at them. They were wrapped laid out under these bright arc lights, stacked 8 high. Black zipper bags, right there. Day and night, trucks came and they picked them up, or they delivered them. I'd wake up at 3 in the morning and look over. Bag, 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 bag. I mean, I always wanted to sleep with 19-year-olds. I'm sorry for my son sometimes. I really am. Because I may not have been a good dad. Because I'm fucking crazy. I mean, I try really hard. But I mean, Jesus. Bag, 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 bag. The one tree that they left standing was the fuck you tree. Now the fuck you tree never had any leaves. It was dead. They left it. I don't know why they left it. It was tall, never had any leaves on it. And a fuck you lizard lived in it. Now a fuck you lizard is a lizard that would come out in the morning, and it would come out in the evening, and it would go, fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! I'll never forget it. You don't know how many bullets were put into that tree trying to kill that lizard, and we never got him. Fuck you! Fuck you! You know, if your name's Bob White and you live in South Dakota, you'd get pretty sick of it. Same thing. And that lizard could only speak American. The Vietnamese hear it, but he ain't talking to them. Fuck you! I'm 19 years old. I'm sleeping next to 8 2-rack stacks of black bags, and there's a lizard just before I go to sleep. Fuck you! There's one vision I miss. We were on a mission to recover a recon team, and we go in to cover the slick ships. We go right down through the cumulus clouds like this, and there's green plants, white clouds, and we can see red smoke. We're following the troop ships through a hole in the clouds, a corridor that can't be more than a quarter mile across, with red smoke coming up and all this green, incredible colors. White clouds, green jungle, red smoke. Wow. It's just a hole in the clouds. Shit. Who needs drugs? We go through this sort of Alice in Wonderland, slide down the rabbit hole, we follow the troop carriers in, and we just blow the shit out of the whole fucking area. We just tear down all the trees, we blow everything up, shot them to shit. We got the recon team out. You know, like when you find paradise? Blow it to shit. Endlessly. Bill White was one of the other door gunners. He was an incredibly articulate, intelligent man. He was always reading. He was fucking cool. And he was one of my best friends. Bill was from Detroit. Bill White was as black as, well, he was the blackest man I'd ever met. And Bill White says, "Why do you want to go and drink all the time? All you do is stink and fart and throw up." Well, I said, "Bill, I got to get some of this pressure off." And Bill said, "Why don't you try some of this?" And I said, "Okay." God damn. It was 1967, Easter Sunday, Republic of... and it was a bad day to get high. There's 3 teams on gunships, A team, B team, C team. I'm on the C team. You pretty much figure on Easter Sunday, if A team and B team are flying, C team's not gonna get called up. There's not that much shit going down. Well, Charlie didn't think that. He shot both of them down. All 4 ships, A team and B team, shot down. And I'm sitting with Bill White listening to Smokey, and we got scrambled. And I was like, what? Come on, you gotta go! So I go out to the field with Frank Scott, who drove us out to the flight line. And I went out, and I got in my helicopter, and I went up, and I killed my first human being. It was a glorious day. Easter Sunday, 1967, Republic of... He was trying to shoot me, so I shot him. Easter Sunday. These guys, boom, tracers start going up on all sides. The pilot flew over him, he went straight up, he looped back around, came down, and now this guy, he's aiming right at me, and I'm looking right through my sights back at him. I think he's overwhelmed by the chopper. I mean, he didn't even shoot. No! 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 Not me! Shoot anyone but me! No! No! I was thinking, hey, stupid! Go after the fucking pilot! Huh? You kill the head, the body dies. He was shooting at me. He was mad at me. Look back at the records of any war, and from all the way back from gladiator days, there's one guy out there who's trying to kill you because he can't focus on the whole group. You know, now we can. Of course, we can just go finger on the button, boom. But right in that moment, he was focused on one person, and he was trying not to be overwhelmed. He was trying to kill me. I knew he was. My asshole was about that big around. I was scared shitless. My heart was probably going 300 beats a minute. I was higher than shit and armed to the teeth. Hey, Uncle Sam, I'm your green machine. Anyway, hey, I killed him. I shot him right in half. He separated right about here, and he fell onto his side, and he spewed blood into the air. And I don't care. Growing up, I wasn't really good at anything. Suddenly I knew I was really good at this.
August 20, 1967. Dear Mom.
Thank you for all your letters. I'm sorry I haven't written in so long. We get to a point where we don't even know what day of the week it is. They needed someone to ride shotgun on this fuel truck, which was going out into the field for a week. I thought it would be a kick, so I volunteered. We drove about 60 miles from Bearcat into the jungle to a place called Nui Dat. They had cleared a place in the trees where the ships could land, and we set up there. We slept on the hood of the truck, and we ate sea rations for a week. One of the villages around there supported us with beer.
They were probably VC, but what the hell? Have to have my beer, you know. I have to go back to work now, so I miss you all a bunch. Love, Rob. 196.
You make a mistake, and they take you off flight status. They say, you can't fly anymore, and you go, what is the downside of this? I mean, they're shooting at me every day, and you're saying I can't go out there? So we screwed around every week. Sometimes it was like, let's all just get naked and run into the street. And so we did. And nobody noticed because everybody was crazy. I didn't volunteer. What happened was I dicked around to the point where I was taken off flight status. They wouldn't let me fly and get shot at, so they put me on a fuel truck and they said, you will go here. And that is like 60 miles out into the bush. You will refuel Australian bush planes, and we'll see you when you get back. If you get back, fuckhead. And I said, thank you, sir. And I went out on the truck. We got to know the Australian pilots. Man, these guys had liquor in their rations. You know, like beans and weenies and a shot of whiskey, eggs and ham and a shot of scotch. They issued their men booze. I'm fighting for a country that has the morality of a 14-year-old girl. They won't give me any goddamn liquor. I mean, it's okay to kill, but don't let them drink. Usually the kids would come out to the fuel trucks with Ba Mui Ba, Tiger Beer, number 33. Tiger Piss, more likely. We called it Bombity Bomb. All the kids, they'd come out to the truck every day. GI, beer. GI want beer? Buy Coke. GI, buy Coke. Well, one of the kids I kind of liked. And this kid has a toy. It's a can, like a bean can or something. He caught 2 crickets, and he had 1 cricket at the bottom of the can. And in his other hand, he had a stick. And on the end of the stick was the other cricket's head. He had tore the head off one of the crickets, stuck it on a stick, and they took the can, and he puts the stick down in the can. He puts the head of the cricket in front of the other cricket, and it goes. Big smile from the kid. He takes it out. He puts it back in. It makes the noise. That's his one and only toy. That's what he plays with. 1 live cricket, 1 dead cricket. So, this is all fine and good. It's Vietnamese Norman Rockwell. So I spent 2 fucking weeks out there. Now, I'm pretty fucking sick of all of them. Him, his little brothers and his sisters, all of them, and I want them to go away. GI, buy a Coke. GI, pineapple. You buy pineapple, GI. That's why I don't eat fucking pineapple anymore. So, I go, okay, gather around. I get a green can of fly spray, and I catch a grasshopper. I put the grasshopper down on the ground. It takes 1 jump, another little jump, and then 1 very small jump, and dead. Oh, GI. Then I take the CO2 fire extinguisher. I hold up the excess spray. I hold up the CO2 fire extinguisher off the side of the truck. Oh, GI. And then I just let them have it. Woo! Ah! They didn't come back for 3 days. And the guy that was sitting on the top of the truck said, "Oh, you're gonna fucking rot in hell for that." That's all he said. You're gonna rot in fucking hell for that.
Weren't you telling me all the time that guys would just shoot people? Any people?
There was this one APC, that's armored personnel carriers that are escorting us. And on this one, there were these good old boys, and they're flying a Dixie flag, and if you argued with them, they'd shoot you, if they were fast enough. Look, everybody there, they were pissed, and they didn't want to be there, and they're fucking armed. I mean, it was like Tombstone, OK Corral kind of stuff. Boom! Casualty of war. When I walked the earth, which I didn't do very often, I had an M16 strapped to my back, a .38 caliber pistol in a holster under one arm, a .45 caliber Russian machine gun under the other that I got in exchange for a North Vietnamese flag, and I've got like 4, 5 knives in my boot, on my body. I mean, if you don't like someone and you don't want to shoot them, you just reach out and cut them. I mean, I'm 19 years old. I'm full of testosterone. Don't fuck with me. Everybody was like that all over the place. So it was like the Cold War. I can see that you got all that, and you can see that I got all this. So don't fuck with me.
Did you ever do it?
Did I ever kill an American? No, I did not. I never did. Don Anderson tried, though. Don Anderson from Madison, Wisconsin. Don Anderson threw a grenade into the first sergeant's hooch. First sergeant wasn't there. He was on R&R. Blew that hooch to pieces. And they saw the footprints in the mud, and immediately Anderson was in the infantry. 6 months later, just through attrition, he had been promoted 6 levels from private all the way to staff sergeant. The guy he tried to kill was still a first sergeant, and he was still an asshole.
Dear Mom, sorry I haven't written. Well, everything is more or less the same. Most of my close friends have been transferred to a different unit. Don Anderson went to the 3rd of the 39th Infantry. A mine got him. I went to see him at Long Bien Hospital today. He's in a lot of pain, but he's nothing but smiles. Happy he doesn't have to beat the bush anymore.
Mr. Self is 19 years old. He is a warrant officer, a civilian flying for the Army. His name is Bill Self. And one day I look at him and I go, Mr. Self, what is the deal here? I mean, look at you. Your pants, your shirt's not tucked into your pants are hanging out of your boot. What are you doing? I'm just being myself, he says. And I go, okay, what about this? And he's got one whisker, right on his Adam's apple. It's got to be about 3 inches long. And there's not another hair on his face. I go, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm growing a beard.
Right now I'm on standby at Tan Am, an airstrip. I'm waiting to get scrambled. Please try and send that algebra book and a knife. I'm serious. Miss you all. Wish I was home. Love, Rob. P.S. 99 left.
Mr. Self's helicopter was Stingray 1, 9th Aviation Battalion, Company B. We'd fly straight down the dragon's throat. I mean, right into fucking God hell almighty. I saw 7 shots rip across the windshield, never hit a guy. And the reason we would do it is because we were having so much fucking fun that we would just go anywhere. Mr. Self, he's 19 years old. What the fuck does he have to lose? He's a maniac. And I was right behind him. I mean, we were just teeth and nails. They wanted someone to pull their ass out of the swamp. They'd call the Army because we were young and we were fucking nuts. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the other services. You know, oh, you Marines, none of that shit. They went and they died. I mean, if you ever get a real insane idea and join the Marines, you are truly fucked. Because they are the first ones there and most of them die. Brave motherfuckers. Mr. Self had a real enjoyment of flying under bridges. And he thought it was funny. There's not much room for a helicopter under a bridge. It's 150 miles an hour, 3 feet to spare on the top and bottom, 5 feet on each side. I still have nightmares about it. So one day, we're coming down on a bunker, and the ship slips off of its column of air, and it falls, and the rotors lose their RPMs. And there's a guy down there with one arm shooting at us. He's got one arm shot off, and he's just fucking throwing his gun up with the other arm, with the remaining arm. He shot the wire off my helmet. My gun jams. We can't get the minigun around. And finally, we get enough RPMs to take off. We bounce the ship around, and the co-pilot burps the guns, and we just disintegrate the bunker. And we jump straight up, and we tilt the nose forward to take a look. Only one shot hits the helicopter, right through the pilot's forehead. All I could do was just... Co-pilot flies to the hospital in Saigon. The pilot was dead on arrival, but that's what you did. We knew he was dead, but you flew to Saigon. No more Mr. Self. It wasn't much fun after that.
Dear Mom, well, another day, another dollar, and you can take that literally, too. Yesterday, I got 2 more Charlie and burned down 20 huts.
Blue Jay used to say, I don't understand how you do this. How can you do this every day? I don't know, Blue Jay. I'm sorry. Blue Jay was a total pacifist. He was so thin. He looked like a praying mantis. He had this long, thin face, and he looked so sad. He didn't understand the war at all. Not at all. We were 180 degrees apart from each other. He never left the fort. He was assigned to the general as an attaché. I flew out every day and killed people, and he'd type. And then at night, we'd just drink it up.
Dear Mom, hi. The war is going fine. I'm drunk as usual. Only way to get your nerve up. All we do is go and kill Charlie.
I understood the war. I thought, if I have to be here, I'll do it to the max. The end of your life is certain. Go 150 miles an hour. Go out in a blaze of glory. If you make it home, everything else is dull. I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad it's over. I had all those guns, and I flew in that fucking machine, and I was good at it. I was really good at it because I was a stupid, insane motherfucker. So the Army called me brave. We had big hugs and we cried, me and Blue Jay. I mean, look where we were. Can't you just tell him you don't want to do this anymore? No, Blue Jay, I'm in this. I can't stop it. In March of 1968, I read this article that said that Vietnam vets were being killed in car accidents at the rate of 1 a day in the early part of that year. I remember the day I read it very clearly because I was lying in a hospital bed. It seems one night in February of 1968, 60 days out of Vietnam, I drove a blue Corvette into a tree. The only tree in sight, I'm driving way too fast, and I run right into it. A big, tall tree with no leaves. The car broke into two pieces, just like Ralph Nader said that it would. And the front end stayed on land, and the back end spun out onto a frozen lake, and I flew out like the yolk of an egg, face first into a telephone pole, spun around, and went cartwheeling across the lake, and I came to rest face down on the ice. And I rolled over on my back, staring up at the stars, and I thought, fuck! I survived 3 helicopter crashes. I survived a fucking war. I survived all of that. And now I'm gonna freeze to death. The last time I saw Blue Jay, it was a month after my accident. It was the only time I saw him back in the world. That's what we called the United States. Home was the world. In Vietnam, you weren't in the world, you were just in country. And it was just like the same thing all over, except in civilian clothes. And the fact that I had crutches and a full cast on my leg. It was weird because we had nothing in common but the war and unemployment, but we would go out like this sorry excuse for 2 human beings and just raise fucking hell. We just clicked. And after that, we'd call each other 2, 3, 4, 5 times a year and just talk for hours. He was just like a saint, and I was a goddamn horror story. And he'd come home at night, and we'd just sit and drink scotch, and he'd say, I hate this place, I want to get out of here. And I'd say, I hate this place, I want to get out of here. And then the next day, he would go type, and I would go kill people. And he would ask me, why don't I just tell him I don't want to do this anymore? But they make me, Blue Jay. They built me, and they make me do this. He wasn't even driving. That's the thing that gets me. I'm alone and drunk and driving stupid, and I make it, and he... One of us was lucky and one wasn't. And I still don't know which one is which.